This section is going to cover briefly Appendixes 1 and a very brief overview of Appendix 2 within the Tao of Health section longevity. In the first part about trophology, which is the science of food pairing. So let's just briefly go over the food categories here according to this system. The first category is proteins, and proteins are categorized as foods that contain 15% or more protein matter. They break down proteins in two categories. There are concentrated proteins, which consist of any flesh, any sort of fish, fowl, eggs, milk, and cheese. All of those are considered concentrated proteins. And then there are light proteins, and those consist of nuts, beans, peas, soybean products, avocados, and whole grains. Next category are carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are classified as foods that contain 20% or more starch and or sugar in their composition. A starch consists of peanuts, bananas, potatoes, all pasta products, rice, breads, cakes, pies, and refined cereals, etc., etc. And sugars are classified as whole, brown, and raw cane sugar, fructose, honey, maple syrup, and dried sweet fruits such as dates, raisins, figs, and prunes. Starches and sugars consist of carbohydrates. The next category, according to Trophology, are fats. Fats are either animal or vegetable oils. For animals, the fats are butter, cream, lard, tallow, and fatty meats. The vegetable fats are olive, soybean, sunflower seed, sesame, safflower, corn, and all nut oils. The next category are vegetables. These consist of lettuce, celery, cabbage, broccoli, spinach, bean sprouts, cucumber, asparagus, onion, eggplant, turnip, watercress, leek, zucchini, string beans, green peppers, radish, carrot, okra, artichoke, and olives. The exceptions in the vegetable category are potatoes because they act as a starch, and tomatoes, which act as an acid fruit. The next are fruits, and fruits are broken down into four different categories. The first category are acid fruits, which are all citrus, consisting of orange, grapefruit, lime, lemon. Berries, cranberries, pineapples, and tomato are all acid fruits. Subacid fruits are the next category, and those consist of all stone fruits, such as apples, pears, peach, cherry, grape, apricot, nectarine, plum, basically anything with a pit. And then the next category in the fruits are melons, such as watermelon, muskmelon, honeydew, cantaloupe, papaya. Papaya is considered a melon. And the exceptions within the fruit category are bananas because they act as a starch, dried figs, dates, raisins, and prunes all act as sugars. Some really brief notes are basically when it comes to dairy, milk is best eaten completely alone as a protein food, preferably as raw as certified milk. So as raw as absolutely possible is the best way if one has to consume dairy or chooses to consume dairy. Next are melons. Melons are not included in the fruit category per se because they should always be eaten alone on an empty stomach for optimal digestion and assimilation. Melons are incredible to be eaten on an empty stomach first thing in the morning or as a fast or whether just a melon diet. Incredibly effective at regenerating the digestive system. Next are bananas, figs, and dates, and prunes, raisins, These are all sugar starch foods, and they should not be mixed with proteins. Vegetables combine really well with everything except for potatoes and tomatoes, which is interesting. So potatoes acting as a starch, in this case, don't really mix so well with vegetables per se, in addition to tomatoes, which are considered an acid. Fats should be avoided with concentrated proteins, but they are relatively compatible with light proteins. So in this case, something like avocado as a light protein mixes well with other fats, oils, things of that nature. And finally, in regards to the notes on trophology, basically, the closer to the fresh, raw state a food is consumed, the more compatible it is with other varieties of food. Therefore, try to make at least 50% of your diet consist of fresh, raw foods consumed in the fresh, raw state. That will provide the active enzymes and moist, raw fiber required to compensate for incompatible combination or combinations of cooked foods. Okay, that consists of Appendix 1, which is the food categories and the combination chart. I'll post a picture of the chart, but basically, this is what it looks like. You can see on the left that concentrated and light proteins on the bottom left, they do not mix with carbohydrates and sugars in the same meal, but concentrated and light proteins do mix with vegetables. And they do mix, in this case, with subacid fruits, in the case of light proteins like avocados and nuts and seeds. And you can also find this chart online as well. Just search for Trophology food combining chart and it'll pop up. For Appendix 2, it consists of sample menus for a week, which is really helpful. And Appendix 3 consists of therapeutic foods and juices. And it covers each category, foods and juices. They're listed according to the disease and degenerative conditions they help cure or prevent. All therapeutic foods should be consumed as fresh as possible without incompatible combinations of other foods. And all juices should be consumed raw immediately after extraction, which is really important. Don't let your celery juice sit in a mason jar in the fridge for any amount of time. Drink it as soon as you juice it because the enzymes are volatile and they denature very quickly and rapidly after juicing due to oxidation. So, just to give you kind of a insight as to what this appendix covers, it goes into a number of different ailments, even hypertension, insomnia, nervous system disorders, eye trouble, pneumonia, gout, colitis, on and on. It's very comprehensive. So, that consists of chapter 1. Next, we'll go into chapter 2, which is about fasting and excretion.